Hello all of you. We are starting with our new chapter, Life Processes, that is a sixth chapter of NCERT Class 10. The chapter will be covered in 5 parts. This is the first part in which we are going to cover the introduction part and the first life process, that is nutrition. And in specific nutrition, we are talking about the autotrophic mode of nutrition, the nutrition in plants in detail. Now, the first question arises is what are life processes? As the name suggests, processes means function in our body, and here it means function of our body that help in sustaining life. See, if we talk about the different systems in our body, like digestive system, skeletal system, nervous system, we are having many systems, right? So if we say that a skeletal system is the life sustaining sustenance or the our life is wholly dependent on the skeletal system, if we say our life or the plant's life or a bacteria life is the wholly depending on the skeletal system, no, there are the great range of organisms which are without the skeleton, right? So but if we take the example of energy, we all living organisms need the energy, either a human or an animal or a plant or a small bacteria like a microorganism, any microorganism. So it needs the energy, right? And they get the energy by taking up the nutrients from outside the body, that is they are in the form of food they are taking. So that we can say in short that the life processes are specifically those processes which are important for our every living organism's life, right? So there are different organisms, like there are different organisms we are going to talk about, and there are the different life processes we are going to talk about in those living organisms, different variety of living organisms. The life processes we are talking here are the nutrition, respiration, transportation and excretion, specifically in this chapter. Okay, if we compare the two organisms, a unicellular organism and a multicellular organism, on the basis of these life processes. See, if we say unicellular organism, that means a single organism. Okay, a single celled organism. That means that a single cell is performing all the nutrition processes, the respiration process, the transportation process, as well as the excretion process. Like for example, in amoeba, right? So in all the processes, the living organism, a single bacteria or a single amoeba is in contact with the external environment, right? And that external environment is doing these processes with the help of simple diffusion, right? If either they are exchanging the gases, either they are taking the food, either they are removing the waste, they are all the processes are done by the simple diffusion. But in multicellular organism, these processes, the processes are same, the main function is same, but the as the number of cells are increasing, the complexity of the organism is increasing, and due to which the specific organs are made to perform those same type of processes. Like for example, the taking up of the food by the unicellular organism is done by pseudopodia in amoeba, for example, right? But in multicellular organism that cannot be possible, because there is not only one cell, there are millions of cells who requires the nutrients or who needs the food, right? So in the multicellular organism we made a whole system that we say the digestive system that we are having for that specific nutrition process, right? Similarly, for the respiration process, we are having the lungs. The amoeba is having the exchanges of gases with the help of simple diffusion, but we are having the lungs, or the fishes are having the gills for the same process. Even the plant is having the stomata, right? If we talk about the transportation in unicellular organism is very easy, because there is a whole, only diffusion, and they are transporting within the cell only. The food they are making, the nutritions they are made, the oxygen they are supplying, or the carbon dioxide they are supplying, or the waste material, they are all transported in within a cell with the help of vacuoles. But in multicellular organism, the transportation is needed a whole system, that we say a heart, a blood vessels, and a human being or animal. But if we talk about the plants, there is a xylem and phloem which help in the transportation of water and food. right? Similarly, if we talk about the removal of waste, the removal of the waste is with the help of vacuoles again in a amoeba or in any other organism. If we say plasmodium as well, right? But if we say the multicellular organism, we are having a specific urinary system in our body that helps in removal of the waste, that are toxic substances from our body. There are specific functions or the phenomena in the plant as well as for the removal of the waste. Like for example, the stomata helps to remove the carbon dioxide, that oxygen, that is also the one of the waste for the plant, right? Excess of water is also removed. The resins and the gums are also removed. We are going to be go in the details in the when we go to that topic, but the main difference is the unicellular and the multicellular. That how will you differentiate the organism on the specific life processes? All the organisms need the life processes, but on the way of the body organization, the way of doing the process is different. Okay, so now we will take all the life processes one by one. If we talk about the first nutrition, the nutrition is a process in which we are taking up the nutrients to form the energy. That energy helps in providing the or sustaining our life processes, right? And how we are going to get the nutrients? From the food. So the whole process in which we are taking up the food to the converting it that into the energy for the life processes, the whole process is known as come under the nutrition, right? If we say the nutrition is having 5 basic steps. First is ingestion, taking up of the food, right? We are taking the food from the environment in any other any form. We are saying that the food which enters our body is ingestion, either in human body or animal body or in a small bacteria body, right? After this, we say the second step is digestion. The food which we had taken in our body is now broken down into the smaller substances. The bigger food is converted to the smaller substances, the complex food converted into the simple substances. Now the digested, that is known as the digestion of the food, right? The broken down of the food, the complex food into the simple food. Okay. After that, when we say that the third step is absorption. What is absorption? The absorption of the soluble or the simple form or the smaller molecules of the food into the bloodstream, right? That the nutrients which we have to take or the nutrients which are useful for our body are then absorbed by the from the food by the bloodstreams, right? And from the bloodstreams they start moving to all over the body for the giving it to the all the parts of the body in all these cells, right? And in those cells there is a formation of energy with the help of those nutrients, and that formation of energy or that utilization of the nutrients from the blood in the cell in the form of energy, that is known as assimilation. After that, when we say the energy is used, the food is broken down. But when the food is broken down for using in the energy, there is also a waste material or the extra substances or the toxic materials which are left in our the system where we had entered that food, where we take up that food. Like for example, in human beings, we say the digestive system. The food we had taken in the digestive system is broken down in the digestive system and absorbed by the bloodstreams and then used by the cells, but the waste material is already left in the digestive system only. So it is removed from our body with the help of anus from our body, right? Or we talk about the amoeba or any other small bacteria, they are having the vacuoles and they remove that waste material with the help of vacuoles only, bursting of the vacuoles only. That is the process is known as the removal of the waste from the body is known as ingestion. In the whole process where the 5 steps are occurring, that the whole process is known as nutrition. And when we say that the food is released into the form of energy or is converting in the form of the energy, the whole process is oxidation process. The oxidation of the food is taking place during the formation of energy. Mode of nutrition. If we say nutrition, it is of two types: autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition is of two types: photoautotrophic nutrition and chemoautotrophic nutrition. Photo means light and chemo means chemical. Photoautotrophic nutrition means where the food is made by organism on its own with the help of light, while the chemoautotrophic nutrition in which the organism make its own food with the help of external environment or the chemical reactions that are taking place in external environment. In heterotrophic, where the organism depending on any other organism for their food, that is first is parasitic, where one organism depending on the other organism, where one is advantage and the second is disadvantage. The first organism is snatching the food from the second organism, then it is known as parasitic. While saprophytic is quite different from the parasitic. In parasitic there are two organisms, both are alive, but in saprophytic two organisms but one is dead, and the second organism is taking the nutrients from the dead and decaying plants and animals, right? If we say the saprophytic and the holozoic, they are we can say in that form of mode of digestion they are two opposites. Like for example, in saprophytic they are depending on the dead and decaying matters, but in this the organisms puke out or take out the digestive juices from their body and release on the dead plant or animal. Then the digestion take place externally in the environment, in the natural environment, in the external environment, where the digestive juices act on that dead and decaying plants and animals and convert them into the simpler forms, decompose them or convert them or break down them into the simpler nutrients, and then those nutrients only absorbed by the saprophytes. Not the waste material was not taken inside the saprophytes. While in holozoic, the whole food is taken up by the organism, and the digestive juices inside the body break down the whole food, and the digestion take place inside the body. That is, it is the internal digestion take place in the holozoic, while in the saprophytic that is the external digestion, right? In holozoic, the waste material is removed out of the body after the process of digestion, after the taking of the absorption of the nutrients from the food. But in the saprophytic, the nutrients are only taken up inside the body. The waste material was already outside the body. We are not taking out that out of the body. That is all, even not taken inside the body at the first time step. Now let's talk about one by one all the mode of nutrition. First is autotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition is a nutrition in which the organism is making its own food, right? Like for example, the green plant and some bacteria which are green in color having a chlorophyll. The main characteristic is presence of chlorophyll inside the plant, which helps or enables the organism, any bacteria, green bacteria or the green plant, enables them to perform the photosynthesis process, due to which the food can be made by themselves. You can see the last reaction, right? The basic substances which is required during the autotrophic nutrition, that is the process of photosynthesis. During the process of photosynthesis, the four requirements are must. That is, the plant should be green, the presence of chlorophyll, that shows the presence of chlorophyll, the green color pigment, that is chlorophyll, the presence of sunlight, right? And the two raw materials which are necessary for the food are the carbon dioxide and water. The two raw materials, the basic necessity of the plant and the sunlight. That's why the name is photosynthesis. Photo means light, synthesis means formation. The formation of food with the help of light is known as photosynthesis. It requires four substances. One is chlorophyll, that is green pigment already present inside the plant, then a plant or the green bacteria, then sunlight, that is energy, the light energy which we get from the sunlight, and the two raw material, that is carbon dioxide and water. The formation of glucose, that is the complex charge, the carbohydrate is formed and the oxygen that was released from the plants. Now, when we talk about the photosynthesis, the whole process, the whole reaction is basically is divided into three steps. If we go in detail of the process, that we are saying that carbon dioxide is taken, water is taken, the chlorophyll is present, sunlight is present, then the glucose will form. But how the glucose is formed? There are three steps of forming a glucose or the complex carbohydrate in that. First of all, when then there is a presence of sunlight in the form of light energy, the chlorophyll absorb the sunlight. The first step is the presence of chlorophyll absorbs the sunlight from the sun. Then that light energy converted into the chemical energy. Then there is a second process in which the light energy is converting into the chemical energy. And due to that chemical energy, the water molecules that we are taking up from the water roots, the raw material water which we are taking from the roots are broken or splits into the two different molecules, that is the hydrogen molecule and the oxygen molecule, which is made from the H2O, the water molecule which we already have. So we are saying that the hydrogen molecule and the oxygen molecule is splitted. Now you have the oxygen molecule, the oxygen gas, which is released from the stomatas for the respiration, for our respiration, right? And now the hydrogen is left. That hydrogen is taken up by the carbon dioxide, which is taken from the stomata. The plant takes the stomata, they take the carbon dioxide from the stomata, right? See in the steps. First step, you can see the chloroplast, that is the presence of chlorophyll in the chloroplast, traps the light energy. They take up the light energy, and then the water enters the leaf. Then when the water enters the leaf, the chlorophyll, the light energy converts that water into the hydrogen gas and the oxygen gas, let's say. So oxygen is released from the stomata. Now we are left with the hydrogen only. When we say the oxidization and the reduction process, you know this very well, that removal of the oxygen is reduction and the taking up of oxygen is oxidation. But you know another method as well, that removal of oxygen or taking up of hydrogen, both are reduction. So when we are saying the carbon dioxide when added up with the hydrogen, then it will form a CHO complexes where the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen are present. When the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen are present, the main component they are basically forming is glucose, that is C6H12O6. Now that is a reduction of carbon dioxide to form a glucose. So we are saying the whole photosynthesis process is definitely divided into the three steps. The first is chlorophyll is present and that chlorophyll absorbs the light energy. Then second step, that light energy is converted into the chemical energy, and that chemical energy helps to split the water into hydrogen molecule and oxygen molecule. The oxygen molecule is removed from the leaves with the help of stomata during the respiration, and the hydrogen left help to reduce the carbon dioxide to form the glucose, that is C6H12O6. Now, if we say that the autotrophics are of two types, first is related to the energy, that is light energy, and the second is chemical energy. The whole process is same, but the main difference is the release of light energy in the form of photons. The photon is the energy form of the light. Okay, so when we are saying the green plants or the green animals, they are showing the photoautotrophic nutrition in which photosynthesis is taking place. Okay. Now, when we say the photosynthesis process, it is says that we require main four things, that is sunlight, water, chlorophyll and carbon dioxide. if we say the experiment where first let's say sunlight, if we do not give sunlight, will the photosynthesis take place? No. How will you experiment it? How will you prove that you are what I am saying or what you are saying the answer is correct or no? Not. We are saying take a plant, put it in dark. Don't give the sunlight to it. What will happen? The plant will die. Why so? Because it requires sunlight for the sustenance of the life. Right? This is easy. Second, the plant needs water. Don't give water to the plant. What will happen? The plant will dry out, the plant will not make the food, and the plant will die. Okay. These two are easy. Now when we say prove that the plant required chlorophyll for the photosynthesis, or what is the importance of chlorophyll during the photosynthesis, then we do the experiment. See the first figure, that is 6.2 as written. See the A figure. We take one leaf which is halfly colored, that is green color, that they are having the chlorophyll. They show that the green color leaf that is having the chlorophyll, and the dried part of the leaf that is brown shaded, brown colored. Now mark that with a sketch pen. Mark this area with a sketch pen. And now during the experiment, when we say that we remove the color of the leaf, right? We wholly remove the color of the leaf. How we will remove the color of the leaf? With the help of alcohol and boiled water. We boil them in the alcohol. Okay. While using this experiment, first of all, you have to take care that the bowl, having the alcohol, should not be put on the gas directly. It should be put with the help of water. The boiling water will be having the jar or the test tube of the alcohol, and in that we can leave the leaf. Due to the presence of alcohol, the hot alcohol, the green color will be removed. Now as the green color was present, there should be a or the photosynthesis took place in that leaf earlier, then the food should be there. How we will check there was a food? We already say that the food is present in the form of carbohydrate or the starch. You know the starch test? There is a iodine test, right? So if we say if there was a presence of starch in the whole leaf anywhere, then when we put the iodine on that, it will convert into the blue black color. So when we remove the whole color, we don't know which area is to be chlorophyll, which is having the chlorophyll or which is not having the chlorophyll. We put the iodine now. We can see that the B part, the B section where the green color at start occurring, the blue black color is start occurring. That blue black color shows the presence of starch in that parts, right? And that part, by only in some parts the starch is present and not in the whole leaf, because in the whole leaf the green part is only those area which are now blue black. So it shows that the chlorophyll is due to the presence of chlorophyll only the starch formation take place. If the chlorophyll was not there, the starch will not form, right? In the next experiment, the fourth experiment, we say that how will you prove that the carbon dioxide is required for the respiration of the plant? Now what we can do? See, we have one chemical that is known as potassium hydroxide. We have the pellets, or the we can say a bead like, a button like structure of the pellets are there. The solid form of the potassium hydroxide is there, and that potassium hydroxide is when in contact comes in contact with carbon dioxide, it absorbs the carbon dioxide. Okay, now what we do, we take two pots, okay, similar size or similar plants. We put a glass on that so that no outer air will come inside. Only the air inside the jar will be sufficient for those two plants. Two different jars, two different plants. In one jar, put a potassium hydroxide in a small tray. After a few hours, what will you observe? The plant having a potassium hydroxide is now getting low, or after few time or after some time there will be a death of that plant, and in the second the plant will be survived. Why so? Because of the presence of potassium hydroxide, the carbon dioxide is absorbed, and the carbon, due to the absence of carbon dioxide in the first jar, you can the plant will die out. Okay. As we say, the carbon dioxide is the most important raw material which is required for the photosynthesis, and we know that the oxygen is also the product of the photosynthesis. So the taking in of carbon dioxide and removal of the oxygen by the plant is the exchange of gases from carbon in the form of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the plant is taken up at the stomata in the leaves, on the surface of the leaves. So when we say the stomata, as you see the structure A and B are showing the structure of the stomata, but the whole guard cell with the stomatal pore forms the stomata, not only the stomatal pores. Okay, the stomatal pores or the stoma are helps to exchange of the gases as well as also controls the rate of transpiration. Okay, so that's why the transpiration, due to the loss of water during the transpiration, the exchange of gases or the opening and the closing process of the stomata does not take place during the daytime in the deserted areas, because there is a more chances of loss of water. There is a scarcity of water as well as the chances of loss of water. That's why the opening and closing of the stomatas take place at the night. The respiration part of the plant take place at the night in the deserted areas only. Okay, now so come to the question, the next question that is related to this stomata part only, but you will give me the answer. Search for it first of all, that why the stomatal pores or the stomatas are present in large number on the lower surface of the leaves as compared to on the upper surface of the leaf. Okay, you will search for the answer first of all. With the what are the raw materials which we require for the photosynthesis? The basic are the carbon dioxide and water, which we say in the photosynthesis which is required. Other than that, we say that the roots takes up the water and minerals. So when we say minerals, what type of minerals the soil, the plant is taking from the soil is the nitrogen, phosphorus, iron, and magnesium. These are some examples of the materials or the minerals which are taken by the plant from the soil. But in from these, the most important is nitrogen. You also learned about the rhizobium bacteria, the nitrogen fixation, the changing of atmospheric nitrogen into the nitrate form or the solid form or the soluble form, so that it can be absorbed by the plant. But what is the necessary of nitrogen in the plants? It is very essential. Except the carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, these molecules, the nitrogen is the basic component from which the protein and DNA is made up of. And we all know that the living organism is wholly dependent on the carbohydrate, fats, and proteins. Although the carbohydrate and lipid is made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, but a protein needs a nitrogen. That's why the nitrogen is necessary. Okay, now we had completed with the autotrophic mode of nutrition, the nutrition in plants. Now in the next class, we will talk about the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, that is the nutrition in animals. Thank you, class.